There are places on this planet you will never be allowed to enter, not because they are classified military installations, not because they are privately owned by the powerful, but because the ground itself will kill you, or because the people inside have made it clear, repeatedly and without ambiguity, that you are not welcome. And in one case, because the most beautiful thing left on Earth is too fragile to survive you. 5 places. All of them real. All of them are inaccessible. One is a stretch of sea caves that went viral on social media and killed people before authorities closed them forever. One is a neon-colored wasteland of acid and salt where the Earth's crust is so thin that a single step could plunge you into a boiling cauldron of liquid, more corrosive than battery acid. One is a volcano with the largest lava lake on Earth, and lava that moves faster than a highway car. One is a cave 300 meters underground, where crystals the size of telegraph poles grew for 500,000 years, inside water that would cook you alive in minutes. And one is 85,000 square kilometers of jungle that the government has declared permanently off limits, not to protect it from people, but to protect its people from you. Let's start in Australia. The Pink Caves sit inside Munmurra State Conservation Area on the central coast of New South Wales, about 80 kilometers north of Sydney. The rock is stained a vivid, surreal pink, with mineral deposits laid down over thousands of years in the sandstone. In 2020 and 2021, photographs of them began circulating on social media. People started arriving. The caves fill with water at high tide. Even at low tide, the ocean swell drives unpredictable waves across the rock shelf and into the cave openings with no warning. Rogue waves can lift a person off their feet and drag them across exposed rock into the open sea. There is no lifeguard. There is no approved walking track to the site. Emergency services have no viable access route to that section of coastline. Several people were injured, several died. On the 29th of July 2022, the New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service permanently closed access to the site. There are no exceptions, no guided tours, no special permits for the caves themselves. The rock shelf is still there, the pink is still there, the ocean is still there, and it still does not care whether you are watching it or not. In the Danakil Depression of northern Ethiopia, near the border with Eritrea, lies the Dalol hydrothermal field, a landscape so hostile it is often described as hell on earth. Situated 125 meters below sea level, at the junction of 3 tectonic plates, Dalol is a kaleidoscopic desert of salt, sulfur, and iron oxides that has been bubbling with volcanic intensity for centuries. Average annual temperatures frequently soaring past 50 degrees Celsius, while the atmosphere is thick with acidic vapors and carbon dioxide. The ground here is a fragile, neon-colored crust of salt that's often just centimeters thick, hiding pressurized pools of boiling liquid more acidic than battery acid. Scientists have searched these neon waters and found absolutely nothing alive inside them. It's a rare geographic dead spot where the Earth's chemistry is just too intense for even the hardiest microorganisms to survive. And yet, the site is not merely a wasteland. NASA and astrobiologists study Dalol as a direct terrestrial analog for Mars and Jupiter's moon Europa, seeking to understand how life might emerge in the absence of traditional oxygen-rich conditions. Because it sits in a volatile border zone, independent travel here is strictly illegal, enforced by the Ethiopian military and armed scouts. The ground is a fragile salt shell that can shatter at any moment, and a single misplaced step means a fatal plunge into a boiling pool of acid. To stand in Dalol is to stand on ground that hasn't finished forming. Mount Nyiragongo is an active stratovolcano 3,470 meters high in Virunga National Park in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, 20 kilometers from the city of Goma and its 2 million people. Inside its summit crater sits the largest lava lake in the world. The lava is uniquely dangerous. Its silica content is extremely low, meaning instead of thick, slow-moving flows, Nyiragongo produces lava of exceptional fluidity, capable of reaching speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. In January 1977, the crater walls fractured and the lava lake drained in under 30 minutes, killing an estimated hundreds of people. In January 2002, a 13-kilometer fissure opened in the volcano's flank, sending lava into the city of Goma, killing 147 people and leaving 120,000 homeless. On the 22nd of May 2021, Nyiragongo erupted again. 32 people died, and lava reached the outskirts of Goma before stopping. Beyond the volcano, Virunga National Park sits in one of the most conflict-affected regions on Earth. Armed militia groups operate throughout the park. In 2018, 2 British tourists, their driver, and a ranger were attacked inside. The ranger was killed. So can you visit? Technically, guided treks to the summit have existed, but access has been closed and reopened multiple times, depending entirely on the security situation that week. There's no reliable way to plan a trip. There's no guarantee the park will be open when you arrive, and there's no authority that can promise you will come back out. In April 2000, 2 miners drilling through a fault deep in the Naka mine in Chihuahua, Mexico, broke through into a chamber approximately 300 meters underground. What they found was not immediately understood. The room was a horseshoe-shaped cavity, roughly 109 meters long, and every surface of it was covered in enormous translucent crystal columns of selenite growing from the floor, jutting from the walls, and intersecting overhead. The largest single crystal measured 11.4 meters long. Scientists who studied the formation determined that the crystals had been growing continuously for approximately 500,000 years, submerged in mineral-rich water held at a constant 56 degrees Celsius by a magma chamber several kilometers below. The moment that water cooled, the crystals began to degrade. Researchers who entered wore refrigeration suits, backpacks of ice, circulating cold water through tubes over their entire bodies, and could survive inside for a maximum of 30 to 45 minutes before the heat became fatal. The air temperature reached 58 degrees Celsius with humidity between 90 and 99%, creating a wet bulb temperature the human body cannot cool itself against. So can you visit? No, not ever. In October 2015, the mining company suspended operations and allowed the cave to reflood entirely. The crystals are now fully submerged under superheated water. The entrance tunnel is underwater. There's no way in, no organization offering access, and no exception for tourists, journalists, or anyone without a drill and a death wish. The cave has simply gone sealed beneath the same water that built it. One odd fact about Naka, scientists extracted dormant microbes from inside the crystals and determined they had been sealed there for between 10,000 and 50,000 years and were genetically unlike anything known on Earth. The Javari Valley in far western Brazil is not a place. It is a territory of 85,444 square kilometers of western Amazonian jungle, roughly the size of Portugal, set aside by the Brazilian government in 1996 as a permanently restricted indigenous land. Entry by non-indigenous people is illegal. It is home to the highest known concentration of uncontacted indigenous groups in the world, at least 14 separate peoples, estimated at more than 2,000 individuals who have chosen no sustained contact with the outside world. The prohibition exists not to preserve the landscape, but to preserve it. Every previous contact between these communities and the outside world has carried lethal disease into populations with no immunity. The Brazilian Indigenous Affairs Agency, FUNAI, monitors the territory from the air and maintains a small number of checkpoints on the river approaches. In June 2022, Bruno Pereira, a senior FUNAI official and expert on uncontacted peoples, and Dom Phillips, a British journalist, were murdered in the valley by illegal fishermen whose activities Pereira had been working to expose. The case drew international attention to how dangerous the territory is, even for those who are supposed to be protecting it. Illegal miners, loggers, and drug traffickers continue to enter illegally. The tribes they encounter have no framework for negotiating with the modern world, and the modern world, so far, has given them no reason to want one. Not every forbidden place is sealed behind a steel door or a government fence. Some are closed by physics, some by conscience, some because the people inside it have every right to keep it that way.